So how did you get yourself to stop blaming others?
It definitely took me some time to really see not only how I was showing up when I was blaming others or things outside of me, but really seeing the control that I could take back in this specific situation. It took me a number of years to be able to do that. I mean, when I think about our business, for example, being able to grow the business to where we are right now, it was very easy for me to blame the algorithm, people not signing up, myself, like all of these ways that people think is taking extreme ownership, but in reality, it's actually not. It's using guilt, shame, and humiliation against yourself. But here's the thing. When it comes to getting the results that you truly want, there are 3 things, and you need to follow all of these 3 things in order to make sure that you have your greatest opportunity to show up, to perform, to take action, and to get results. And that's what we want to do with you guys here today. We want to share these 3 different steps that will help you start taking control of the things you can control, so that sometimes you can even control the things you thought you couldn't. And if you're ready to do that with us, let's go. It's time to redefine leadership. Welcome to Modern Leadership, where we see things differently. Our channel is all about empowering entrepreneurs like you to achieve the next level of success in business and life. We believe that you can create a massive impact in the world without compromising your personal life or family time to do so.
We're committed to providing you with actionable tips and strategies weekly to make that possible. So if you're ready to become a modern leader and make a lasting difference in the world, consider subscribing. Turn on notifications and dive into our community. We want to thank you for being here because the world needs your leadership now more than ever. Let's go. So we all know that it starts with mindset. So what's that first step?
Yeah, it definitely is all about mindset, even though people rush to the tactics. Now, when I think about mindset, I think about a book called Extreme Ownership. And what was taught in the book was thinking about the things you can control being the best use of your time and energy. Focusing on the things you can't control makes you feel like you're actually living a life that you don't want to live, right? Like everybody else is controlling the outcome, all the other things that are out there. And I remember reading this quote. It says, when you focus on the things you can control, you can sometimes even control the things you thought you couldn't. Because we can influence other people, other things, people to say yes, people to take the actions we want them to take, but we can only do so by focusing on the things that we actually have control over. So remember, when you think about mindset, when you think about achieving specific results, focusing your time and attention on the things that you can control is the most effective way for you to get the results you truly deserve. Now let's move on to step number 2, which is the tactics. After you make sure that you have the right mindset, now it's the actual tactics that you can employ to make sure you're following through with this.
Yeah, so this is a great question to ask yourself. So what are the things that I can control in this situation? So in certain situations, you're going to feel like there are things that are out of your control, but there are also things that are in your control. Focus on those things and identify them so that you can put your energy and effort into those. So what that looks like is maybe brainstorming some of those things that you actually do have control over. And once you identify those, then release the things that you don't have control over.
So once you figure out the things you can control versus the things you can't, I want you to really step into what will give you the greatest opportunity to achieve the results you want in this area by influencing the things that you can't directly control. Now, let me give you an example. So one of the situations that we were struggling with was getting our kids downstairs when it was dinner time. They always had their iPads on. They always had a TV show they were watching, a game they were playing, and it would literally take like 7 to 10 minutes and like the food would be cold. One of the things I was thinking of is, why aren't my kids listening to me? Now, if I think about that, that's kind of outside of my control. Whether or not my kids actually listen to me is not something that I can directly change, but I can influence it. So if I think about that situation and I ask myself, what are some of the things that I have control over and how can I influence them to get downstairs? Now we start to change the game. Now for me as a coach, one of the things I do with my clients is I help elevate that even higher. So in this situation, I ask myself, how can I make it so exciting that when it's dinner time, my kids actually fight to get downstairs to the table first? Now the ideas start flowing and it's based off of what I can control. And so for us, what we decided to do is the person who gets to the table first gets to pick the seat that they sit in, and they have to act like that person for the entirety of dinner. Now, I think this is like one of the most fun dinners because you find out things about yourself when your kids pretend like they're you. But it was that experience of me being able to think about the things I can control so I could control or influence the things that I even thought that I couldn't. Now, I want to shift to give you another example related to business. Let's say you're having a conversation with somebody and you're trying to make a sale because you really do believe that what you have is going to impact them forever. And they say no. Now, it's very easy because we actually don't have control over what they say to point the fingers at them, point the fingers at us, point the fingers at society, at a recession. All of those things we have zero control over. But what we do have control over is how we behave and how we react in this situation. Now, thinking about this, I would ask myself, what is it that I can learn from this situation? What is it trying to teach me so that next time I will get a yes if it is the right person? And when I start asking myself those questions, it starts to get me back into the area of what I can control, which is learning the lesson it is trying to teach me versus pushing off on everybody else, saying it has something to do with the outside circumstances or the facts, which really takes my power away. And so when you implement these tactics, when you think about what do I have control over and what I not have control over, and how could I influence what I can't control by focusing on what I can, it really changes the game for you. But only if you implement step number 3. Now, step number 3 is accountability. It's getting yourself to show up. Now, when I say getting yourself to show up, I don't mean using blame, guilt, or shame to get yourself to show up. That's what I think a lot of people get confused when they think about extreme ownership. No, it's using this as an opportunity for you to grow and asking yourself, what do you have control over? And how we do that is we make sure that we put ourselves in environments that have other people who are taking extreme ownership, who are using blame, guilt, or shame to get us to be able to show up, because that's never a recipe for success. It might get you to show up, but it won't get you to do that consistently because of the negative energy that you're going to have when you're doing it. So making sure you're in an environment that uses strategies related to focusing on what you can control is going to make it contagious so that you stop giving your power away. That's literally why we have created this resource, this YouTube channel, and our inner circle. It's so that we make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people who are taking extreme ownership because we know the opposite is contagious too. So if you're someone who wants to fully implement extreme ownership, who wants to take action, but also take control of the things they can control, definitely subscribe to the channel and learn a little bit more about our inner circle where we take deeper dives into taking extreme ownership around your business, your family, and your health. But even if we aren't a good fit, just make sure that who you do find is someone that leans into these philosophies, because we know what you truly want is to make a huge impact in the world. And you can only do that when you start focusing on the things you can control. Thank you for being willing to do that, for showing up as the leader that you truly are and modeling that behavior for others, because it truly is contagious. And the people that you're helping will catch the bug too. Thank you for what you do out there every single day, and keep leading from the front.